So this tart just sings out spring. It's my zucchini, asparagus and goat's cheese tart with sour cream and chia pastry. So we're going to get started with the pastry. I've got 2 cups of just plain flour and 3 tablespoons of chia seed. Just the one thing about the chia, you know, whole armies have marched with chia in their tummy. It's in the top 10 superfoods, so I thought it'd be good just to add it to our pastry today. So off we go. We're going to add 150 grams of really chilled butter. I've just cut it into cubes. And it's a little bit like making scones. We're going to take the time, just with our hands in there, to rub it in. And just the warmth of your hands will help the butter work into the flour. And now I think it's time to add the sour cream, the good bit. 150 grams of sour cream. This is a great pastry because it's about 50% sour cream and butter to the flour, so it makes it extra delicious. And then out onto the bench, a little bit of flour. And the pastry onto the bench. Now we don't want to overwork it because we don't want the gluten to be, we don't want our pastry to be tough. We want it to stay nice and tender. So the little that you work with it, the better. So I'm going to try and shape it into a disc for easy rolling once we come to fill our tart tin onto a plate or a board in this instance and into the fridge for 20 minutes to rest. So the pastry's been resting for 20 minutes and I've got the oven on 180 and we're going to fill our tin. So lots of flour. Okay, rough and ready, just like Pa used to do. Voila. And then we just gently push the pastry in. See those pretty flecks of chia, black chia? That's the goodness. And now what we're going to do is trim it down, fill it with rice, baking paper and then some rice, and do what we call blind baking. Because we need to bake the pastry before we can put the custard in so it gets a head start and it doesn't get soggy. Okay, baking paper. And rice, or beans, or river stones. Push the rice to the very edge. And off we go to the oven. So the tart's been in the oven for 15 minutes, and at the 10-minute mark I took it out and removed the rice. Then here we are, and I see that there's a few little cracks in the pastry, and that's just country cooking. So I've got a solution. I'm going to take 1 Essington Park egg, a little mix, and I'm carefully going to paint the inside of the tart case with the raw egg. So what this does is it seals, hopefully, fingers crossed, all those little cracks that lead to the possibility of the custard running out. And then what I'll do is pop it back in the oven for 5 minutes on 180. The tart case is out of the oven and it's all looking good. So now I'm going to saute the leeks. I'll start with a couple of tablespoons of olive oil and a nice hot fire. I've cut 2 quite large leeks, just the white and pale green part, cut them up and then given them a really good wash. That's super important. Okay, so in we go with the leek. And while that's happening, we'll make our custard. So I'm going to take 6 beautiful Essington Park eggs. They're about 60 grams, that one's a whopper. 1. Now to our custard mix, 200 mils of pouring cream. A good pinch of salt, like about a teaspoon, and a couple of grinds of black pepper. Have a little look at our leeks. So they're cooking down beautifully. Back to our custard. Now this is my state-of-the-art egg beater. Okay, so my leeks are cool and we're going to build the tart. So I start with the leeks into the base. Look at that, that's beautiful already. And then I've got 1 medium-sized zucchini that I've grated and just squeezed as much of the liquid out. Okay, now I'm going to chop a little bit of mint on top because mint and zucchini go beautifully together. And then for our custard, and then for our cheese, this is 100 grams of Gruyere, the asparagus, and you know, you can just free flow, and then the beautiful salty piquant Meredith goat's cheese. And then last but not least, the chives. And I picked these from my kitchen door not long ago, so super fresh. But why I put them in at the very end is because they look so pretty dotted over the top. Into the oven, 150 for 25 minutes. Spring is in the air, and so is this beautiful zucchini, asparagus and goat's cheese tart with sour cream and chia pastry. Food from the heart.